الرحمن علم القرآن خلق الإنسان علمه البيان الشمس والقمر بحسبان والنجم والشجر يسجدان.
Assalamu alaikum, my friends. Welcome to another episode of the Revelation Experience. I'm Meraj Mohiuddin. Today we are going to be covering a very well-known surah, Surah Al-Qadr, which means determination, often translated as power. So when we say Al-Qadr, it means power or determination. And so this is often correlated with Laylat Al-Qadr, which is the night of power or the night of determination. Now, what are we referring to here? What we understand is that the Qur'an, the very first revelation, was revealed to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, on a specific night, right? That was the first revelation of Surah Al-Alaq, Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. That revelation happened on Laylat al-Qadr, the night of power, right? It's a very powerful night. This is when the first revelation is coming down to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And so Allah in this surah is commemorating that night and instructing us of the blessings of that night so we can follow through with this. Now, our tradition tells us we don't know exactly which night that is. We believe it is in one of the last 10 nights of Ramadan. And according to many narrations, it might be one of the last few odd nights of Ramadan. So it could be on, the 21st, the 23rd, the 25th, 27th, and 29th night of Ramadan. And there are other traditions, for example, by Ibn Abbas, who was actually the son of the Prophet's uncle, Abbas, who he believed that that night was actually the 27th night of Ramadan, which is why most people kind of lean towards that night, or they usually save up their energy for that night. And when I say save up their energy, they're saving up their energy to pray for most of the night. Now, the reason why people stay up to pray for most of the night becomes self-evident in the surah itself. So let's start taking a look at the surah. The surah begins, "Truly, we began this revelation on the night of determination."
إِنَّا أَنزَلْنَاهُ فِي لَيْلَةِ الْقَدْرِ
وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا لَيْلَةُ الْقَدْرِ. Right? You'll see this a lot in the Meccan surahs. وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا. Right? Like, for example, we'll see in a future surah, وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا الْعَقَبَةِ. So when Allah is saying, this is X, and what can help you understand what X is? It's kind of an emphatic way of telling people, this is so amazing. How can you even comprehend how amazing this is? So that's what we're seeing here when we hear,
إِنَّا أَنزَلْنَاهُ فِي لَيْلَةِ الْقَدْرِ وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا لَيْلَةُ الْقَدْرِ.
So now that Allah is bringing this to our attention, He's like, this is the night of power. And what could even help you understand how amazing this night of power is? Now Allah will give us the answer, because obviously we can't calculate it. So now He's going to try to approximate for us the capacity of this answer. And that's where He says, the night of power is better than 1,000 months.
لَيْلَةُ الْقَدْرِ خَيْرٌ مِّنْ أَلْفِ شَهْرٍ.
For in it the angels and the Spirit descend by their Lord's command, in order to finish every task. Peace prevails until the break of dawn.
تنزل الملائكة والروح فيها بإذن ربهم من كل أمر سلام هي حتى مطلع الفجر.
So if we just take this sentence by sentence, Allah is saying that this night is so amazing, and you can't even understand how amazing it is. It is better than 1,000 months, right? And even for the number crunchers out there who like to always spreadsheet Islam, right? That's like, Allah is saying this month is better than over 80 years, okay? In terms of its importance, in terms of its power, etc. Because in this night, the angels and the Spirit, right? So what does Allah mean when He says the ruh? Well, throughout the Qur'an, Allah uses this word, the ruh. And, most scholars believe that the ruh is referring to the angel Gabriel, Jibreel alayhi salam. For in it, the angels and the Spirit, meaning Jibreel alayhi salam, descend by their Lord's command to do what? in our narrations to finish every task. Now, what does that mean, to finish every task? Our understanding is that the interpretations from that say that the angels come down to bring down the divine decree for the following year. Okay, that's qadr, right? The divine decree. This idea that Allah has already written out for us what our fate will be. This is not in any way to suggest that Muslims believe in predestination, but this idea that everything happens by the qadr of Allah, the determination of Allah, or the power of Allah. And this is one of the most important foundational beliefs of a practicing Muslim, is that we believe in the qadr of Allah, which means that yes, we have the capacity to take action, to try to put forth our best effort. But at the same time, we do believe that whatever happens to us has been written by Allah, having put in our own effort, right? Which is why a Muslim who truly believes and is practicing and understands Allah and is trying to be close to Allah, whenever anything happens to him, he says, Alhamdulillah, this was by the qadr of Allah. It happened. I can't regret it. I can't look back on it. I can learn from it and maybe change from it. But my past is my past. It was the qadr of Allah. Right? This is not a resignation, it is an acceptance. And this goes into the secret of the gift of Islam. Remember, Allah told Adam, whoever follows my guidance will have nothing to fear, nor will they grieve. Well, what is his guidance that's giving this magical result of no fear and no grief, a life of no fear and no grief? Well, part of that, a big part of that, is to understand what Allah is saying in His guidance about the qadr of Allah. If you truly embrace that Allah is all-powerful, all-knowing, He is seeing everything, He is aware of everything, no one is getting away with anything, including yourself and the people around you, then you start embracing the fact that you actually have the power to take things into your own hands to some extent, to try to set yourself up for a better future for yourself. But at the end of the day, everything is happening because Allah is watching over and He is deciding how He shall mete out blessings and punishments and so forth to His servants as He wills. This is how kind of getting into the qadr. And I just said I wouldn't get into it, but it's so foundational. I'm just trying to touch on it right now. Is this idea of qadr. Because when you start embracing qadr, you really start tapping into that gift of no fear and no grief, right? And I've seen, I know many people who, I'm not trying to call people out, but you see a lot of people who are always stressed about stuff that's happened to them. Oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened. Why did this happen? They said this. I knew that this was going to happen, blah, blah, blah. And they're just living in the past, cycling it over and over and over again. When you talk to them, they're constantly just spinning on like what's happened to them and how, it wasn't fair and this doesn't happen and I wish this happened and so forth and so forth. And those same people, they know Islam very well. They perhaps have memorized the Qur'an and they can give talks and they do this and that. But yet at the same time, when you meet with them, they're just kind of spinning in the past. Oh, you won't believe what happened to me now. And this would happen, and it's kind of incongruous because that's someone who in some ways is kind of not accepting what has happened and moving forward into the future. These are people who are very much stuck in the past. Okay, they're dwelling on the past a lot and they're stressed about the past and they're regretting things that have happened to them or that they have done. That's not embracing and harnessing the gift of Islam. The gift of Islam is say, Alhamdulillah, it was largely my fault. I made a mistake, but you know what? I'm moving forward. I'm getting better. Not beating yourself up over it, but learning and growing positively in the right direction. So again, not to dwell too much on this, but qadr is a very important topic. Maybe we can cover that at another phase or another series or so forth. But really important to just understand this word, this idea of power, determination, right? That Allah is the one who determines everything for us. So anyway, going back to the surah right now. So Allah is saying that the night of power, right? Laylatul Qadr, it's better than 1,000 months, for even the angels and the Spirit descend by their Lord's command to finish every task. And this is why we got off on the sidetrack, because what does that mean to finish every task? Well, our tradition suggests that this means the angels bring down the divine decrees for the coming year. Like this is what is meant to happen in the following year, because Allah knows what we don't know, right? So that's what this means when they're coming down to finish every task. And then the surah ends and it says that in this night, peace prevails the entire night until Fajr. Fajr is the break. It means breaking, right? So the break of dawn. is when this prevails. And we have narrations in our tradition which also talk about the night of power, and that you can identify it because it's a very calm and peaceful night. It's not too hot, it's not too cold, and it's brightly lit by the moonlight. These are from our tradition. Other things that we know about the night of Qadr is that the Prophet Muhammad, peace upon him, in one tradition by Sahih in Bukhari, it says, whoever spends a night in prayer on the night of determination, Laylat al-Qadr, as a sign of his faith and seeking the reward of his Lord, his previous sins will be forgiven. Which is why a lot of people, we should make it a priority to really connect with Allah, to connect powerfully with Allah, and to have that moment with Him.
إنا أنزلناه في ليلة القدر وما أدراك ما ليلة القدر ليلة القدر خير من 1000 شهر تنزل الملائكة والروح فيها بإذن ربهم من كل أمر سلام هي حتى مطلع الفجر.
Remember in the episode on Surah Al-Fatiha, I said that a man once asked this sheikh, who I respect a lot, how many rakats, how much prayer should I do on this night of power? And the response was, it's not about how much you do necessarily, it's about how well can you connect to Allah. So if you can do it all in one sujood, you just need one moment with Allah where you are completely surrendering to Him. It's the moment that you need, right? It's like imagine an interview, a job interview, right? How do longer job interviews mean that you get the job? No, not necessarily. You could have been, chattering your head off or not paying attention and not answering the question. You're being asked the question over and over again by the employer. It's really not about that. When you get actually into successful interviews, this is something I used to teach a lot, because I used to be on the other side as an interviewer for medical school and residency and stuff like that. I always tell medical students and residents, the most important thing is to establish a connection with the interviewer. And often once the interviewer feels that you and him have something in common, everything changes. Like, it just becomes a very enjoyable interaction. And often the questions don't even go into the place of why they're hiring you. They just want to know more about you because now they like you. So one of the key parts of a successful interview is finding that connection with the person that you're trying to talk to. And it doesn't matter. It could have been a 10-minute interview, or it could have been a 1-hour interview. The 10-minute interview where you actually establish a connection. Oh, you went to this school? My father went to this school, and we lived here. Or you have that one connection. You see, a sailboat on their desk, and you're like, oh, what? I love to sail too. I just, sailed from here to here. You get the job then because you have something in common, and that could be a 10-minute interview. And so I'm just saying this as an example or as an analogy to realize that even with Allah, being with Allah is another relationship, and you have to make the connection with Allah. And so it doesn't matter if you just sit there all night long, just reciting without thinking about it. What's more powerful, according to the teachers, is that you're connecting. You're trying to find that connection with Allah. And through that connection, you establish something really powerful that carries you into the next year, carries you through the rest of your life. So that's kind of just a very quick overview of Surah Al-Qadr. Again, we have a lot more surahs coming up. That's why some of these episodes are pretty short. I hope that's okay with you guys. We have some surahs that will be coming up that are going to be incredibly long, which are like 100 times the length of this surah. So I'm just trying to keep everything bite-sized as we move through the Quran in this generalized overview. So I hope that was helpful for you. In the next episode, we're going to be talking about Surah Al-Shams, a very beautiful Meccan surah also. Can't wait to see you guys in the next episode, Insha'Allah. I will see you soon. Assalamu alaikum.
الذين قالوا ربنا الله ثم استقاموا فلا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون أولئك أصحاب الجنة خالدين فيها جزاء بما كانوا يعملون.